Hello, Guardians and Assassins, and welcome to another episode of Anger Management. Okay, well, it's not really an episode of Anger Management. It's an episode of Crucible School, but that's regardless. Now, what are we going to talk about today? Well, if you couldn't figure it out from the little lame joke that I attempted to, stick in there in the front, we're going to talk about mindset. And in mindset, what we're going to talk about is ways to manage your anger management. Have anger management in the middle of, you trying to get good scores and stuff. Now, guys, if you are in an extremely good mood, you are most likely going to have that reflected on the scoreboard because you are able to think clearly. You're, in a happy place, everything's good, so you're able to think a little bit more clearly, making your decisions and, being able to have good outcomes. Now, for all of you guys who have played first-person shooters and just any game in general, you need to keep in mind your mindset has a large majority to do with your decision making. Now, decision making, on the other hand, has a large majority to do with how well you do in first-person shooters. Now, why is that? Well, if I walk into a match and I'm angry at the world, my mind actually is slower at processing what I'm seeing in front of me, and which then slows down my reaction time, which slows down my gameplay, which will also drop my score and my KD. If you're in a good mindset, 9 times out of 10, you're not as suggestible to that type of stuff. So therefore, you're able to make decisions either faster or at the same, your normal pace. So therefore, you're able to make decent decisions. Decent decisions will result in your gameplay being better, and your gameplay being better will result in a higher KD. So let's take a look at, some of the gameplay that I have going on here. Now, guys, I'm sitting here thinking, certain ways in certain parts of this video, and, some of it is not just that way at all. Like, for instance, right here, I'm looking, and I'm seeing my partner here behind me going, oh, okay, well, I'm good. He should be able to watch the area behind us, so therefore I don't get flanked or, taken from behind. Well, I was wrong because he was concentrating on the heavy as well, so therefore I ended up getting killed. Apparently this guy snuck in really, really well because my partner didn't even realize he was there until I said something over the microphone, and he goes, oh, okay, and he turned around and, got the kill. Well, you gotta kind of, pay attention to your surroundings, but anyways, that's that's talking about radar, and we're talking about mindset, so let's change subjects here. Okay, so one of the rules that I have when we are doing Trials of the Nine on a weekend is after a match is over, you are no longer allowed to talk about that match. Well, basically by the time the next match begins, you are no longer allowed to talk about that previous match until you're done with your card, like you're done with Trials of the Nine. And you are not allowed to talk about previous matches that you had in any other part of the game while you were doing Trials of the Nine. Now, the reason for this is because if you're sitting there talking about your last match, I'm concentrating on the last match at this point, and my partners are concentrating on what I'm saying. So therefore, it's not just ruining my mindset, it's also ruining theirs as well. Now, this is very, very bad because that's going to cause, it might not cause massive team wipes, but it's going to cause the enemy to get quite a few different kills on you. When we go into a match of Trials of the Nine, I like to have everybody have a nice, clear thought process, so that way we aren't affected by, the gameplay actually isn't affected by it, and therefore our win or loss ratio is not affected by it either, which, that's always a good thing if nothing's affecting your gameplay except for you. Now, you got to keep, you got to think about, if I am in a good mindset and I am able to, do well, and I'm able to make good decisions and everything goes well, we're going to win more matches, we're going to do more overall. Well, that's exactly what you're shooting for when you're doing Trials of the Nine, or that's at least what you should be shooting for, because it's going to directly result in your life or death, which is, you don't want to die, you want to stay alive. At least that's what I'm guessing. So overall, you're just not allowed to talk about matches when you start the next section of matches. This is a technique that I highly suggest that all of you guys go ahead and adopt. Why? Because it's going to help you throughout your matches. Now, if you're one of those guys that goes and gets, a flawless card every single time Trials of the Nine is up, and you sit there and you farm it just because you like the gear, and it's easy for you, then, that may not apply to you, or you could be using that technique already, which, that would be absolutely awesome. Go ahead and comment in the section below if you already are using something like that, or tell me what your mindset is when you guys go in and you play Trials of the Nine. I mean, hey, we're all here to learn, and that would help us out, and that would help, other players out as well. Yes, it might make it a little bit harder on your end, but you know what? Overall, that's going to improve their play style, which eventually, overall, is going to improve yours, because you are then playing against somebody who is slightly better. And hopefully they do the same. I'm looking for a place where everybody can sit there and they can share their tricks and tips to be able to get, higher KDs. Now, guys, I'm not just talking about Reddit here. I'm talking about, other places too, such as, the comment section of this video. Now, do you have to do that? No, but it would be nice. Now, another thing that we have to talk about, guys, if one of your teammates has an absolutely bad mindset, it can sit there and start to tilt the rest of your team, because it's almost like it's contagious. So if you're in an extremely happy, perky mood, your teammates eventually are going to be in an extremely happy, perky mood. Why? Because your attitude is contagious. And then the same thing goes the other way, though. If you are a completely, angry person at the moment, and you really, probably shouldn't be doing Trials of the Nine, well, then you need to stop what you're doing, and you need to go do something else for a little while to change your mindset. It does not just affect you, it affects your teammates. And then when it affects one, it's almost like the plague. Eventually, it will infect all 4 teammates, and you guys will have worse gameplay. Now, I don't know about you guys, but that's not what we're shooting for. So, is your mindset important when it comes to this? Yes, but you guys also have to keep in mind your mindset is how you feel, not your actual thinking process. Your thinking process and the way that you feel are completely two totally different things. So this might apply to some people and this might not apply to some people, but for most people it does apply, because we're all human, and pretty much our human brains work for the most part the same way. So the reason that you should do something else is because you are not, as I said, you're not just affecting yourself, you're affecting other players. So if you don't want to taint your team, you definitely want to sit there and add breaks into your, your cards and stuff like that, your Trials of the Nine card. And, you guys want to sit there and you want to communicate. Now, as I said, mindset is very, very different from state of mind. Your state of mind is... Well, your state of mind and your mindset are the same thing, but it's very, very different than your concentration. Like, I've been losing mine all over the place during this video. Anyways, the reason why you want to be able to concentrate is because you're able to make your decisions a little bit better. Like, for instance, this guy right here. I heard a super being popped, and I should have ran. Why? Because it was a super, but it was far enough away that I had enough time while he was chasing down my teammate that I could whip out my energy weapon. And for all you guys who don't know, energy weapons melt supers like a hot knife through butter. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm one of those unhealthy Americans, and I do like my butter. Anyways, so overall, if you guys take anything out of this today, just schedule in breaks. I mean, if you're doing bad, just schedule in a break. And if you've been playing too long and you're just not doing well, just take a break or go do something else for tonight. That's all right. You don't have to be on this game 24/7. So, if any of you guys have learned anything in this video, you're welcome, and I'm very happy that you learned something. But you can go ahead and leave a comment below. If you like what you hear and you're more interested in hearing more from Crucible School, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And if you never want to miss another video, go ahead and click that notification bell. Now guys, just to give you a heads up, just like the last video, I upload every day, or I attempt to. So, if you're one of those people to binge watch at the end of the week all of your Crucible videos and everything else, do not click the notification bell, because you will have it go off at least once daily. Besides that, hey, I hope you all had a fun time here, and hey, I'll catch you in the next Crucible School.
Sound tactics bring victory.